I think they should live our experience. The tarmac inequality, mile after boring mile, the same white strip, the same cat's eyes, the persona fades like early sleep, and the hard world goes on hiatus. It's an eclipse in thought, a parentheses, a subject dropped through a hatch, and still the hurtling machine, the blast shelter, the poisonous fire, darts around obstacles, each a little cabin of self-preservation only millimeters from catching death. You go on like this, on autopilot, for months, simultaneously totally present and a grating mass of absence, but able to do that job, which is not to die. And then that dumb moment when you catch yourself doing it. Had I been asleep for hours, my daughter floating in my palm? I was so engaged in the number plates and the colors, I forgot to recognize myself as a soldier. Hardly breathing, I crossed 2 lanes, put on the hazards. Snapping back exceeded the heart's strength to tolerate electrochemicals. My head swam with the bright proximity of violence. Some part of me must have wanted to. Saying some part locates that part as an alien object tapped into my viscera that can't really be found. I sip water, take a cleansing breath, ease off the pressure. Celebratory gold ribbons of rain cut the midsummer sun and anoint us, but they are wrong to do so, the mountains grilling like the roots of a tooth. Closed. He said he heard my text in the hall above the consulting rooms, my searching of the holes made by American surgical and gross violences in a different light, as the weaponization of my own past, feeding on the things that I have been called to love, the structures and the people inside them. We were cocked and loaded to retaliate when I asked, how many will die? 150 people, sir, was the answer. Bending the azimuth away from justice, scorching vile bodies, this invulnerable mechanical soul pulses on a slow single trophy to engagement. Put Eid henna on your hands. Lately come offers of compensation. Opened. The scene at Molesworth and Alconbury Crown is big data pastoral. The networks glimmer as we enjoy our breakfast, me and my friend. The starlight flaked off in her hair leaves glitter over the bed-down location, a boutique country inn whose grain is polished by snow violence. In the village, there's a statue to a man who broke a record, shoveling beads into his hands. The beads were heavy, and his face was greased. We take some scratchings at the high bar that reinforce for termination, as the English summer releases fluff and pinions. Its sky goes hazy with that era, now only a dream in sepia of flightless predators. As we walk, we are accompanied by shout drones, volunteer responders warning us to stay safe, stay home. Sometimes we're struck suddenly with a claw when we're just trying to explore the climatized safe zone where learned machines monitor crops. But the propellers whistle, and the reaper will never find his home. Oh, burning Julia, is that your blue light in the rushes? Where are you leading me? To the hospital, the pit, or curfew? Opened. My body lies over the ocean. My body lies over the sea. My body lies over the ocean. So bring back my body to me. Frozen. Databases are instrumental, but they're actually a fairly terrible way to apprehend life, and the poor sap with the most links gets iced. Offered a chance to view statistics, he chooses not to open the envelope. The chemicals have left almost nothing but green crystals, the odd button. I feel myself coming into being like a wave, passing down my body, that object referable in the mirror. It is known to others, and so becomes known to me as a blunt force. Every day something happens, like I bare my teeth in the glass, a monkey instinct, my physical heritage tearing the red flesh from the ulna. But I don't take any notice of it. It's part of the repertoire of unspeakable humanness, activities which discriminate us from the riveting environment in the way a squirrel is not really an animal until somebody from far away takes its photograph in a lumberyard. And someone from the Hague Industrial Complex tweets that we need a final solution, running gunboats to deflect the dinghies, her teeth visible in the downstroke of every character, every repetition. Closed. The Air Force practices above Anglesey. We are buzzed by jets on Dinnesdale Beach. The mercury in the sea makes a ladder, and mostly we can only hear them, a flash, and they appear to be circling. And then they hover, so low that no one can believe it, meters from where the children are digging, and so slow, like cops cruising the corner, before they lift themselves up again and vanish. Realizing he was not the intended target, he continued. Frozen. My nerves were bad. The trees gathered the wind in their branches gently, holding it for us as noise alone, but not for long. Activated. Flaming up through the gorge, it kicks off. In the MS hospital in Kunduz, the patients in the intensive care unit are on fire in their beds. These cats distributed among the victors, by Tula Masood dying as many as 7 times while getting a foot rub on the roof from his young wife. Others had only one, because it was so paltry. The smell of rocket everywhere. I couldn't find the door. The captain levitates in a pillar of cloud, taking the frail architecture up with him. I will cheer it on. I am elated. Naming specifies the object, draws it apart from the brute materiality, grounds it in relation to all others. So it stands to reason that the signature strike, which forces down over scalp and face as a livid metal cone the terror identity, a croppy, is the inverse, making name into annihilation, expelling the person from the vacuum in which our counterterrorism tools do not exist. We bring specificity to an end, dispensing gravel and carbon granules over the open field where we run prey. Activated. In the eschatological tradition, the prey carries his death upon his person. And this is very painterly, but not adequate protection, recognizing the frequency of Apache deep attacks. My mom's boyfriend and my uncle forced me to try out the gun. Not the one that lay curled up in his sock drawer with the porn mags, another one at Indian Oldfields against cans. I didn't want to hold it. The heaviness repulsive to my hand, the kickback, a joke on me. They said, you need to know how, but not why, which stalker would back me up the stairs, and what they were imagining was his color. They said, this is how country people live. My uncles harboring in the trees, drawing their enormous bows, were relative aristocrats, giving the prey its chance, taking theirs, striking a line through the history of this land of men armed in blinds, bloody against nature. Closed. Turns out I'm really good at killing people. Didn't know that was going to be a strong suit of mine, said Mama. Hear how shallow this Molotov is, like an old furnace woman. I'd hit him with both my hands and knock all the teeth out of his mouth onto the ground, like a pig gobbling up our corn and munitions. Feeling nauseous from the switchbacks, my son looks out and says, that man has moved in death. But his heart won't stop falling into his stomach. He's been blooded, just like you would a hunting dog. I never needed to advertise my reproductive fitness by running around, trapping animals, bringing them home. My belly is round and intact, except for the slit up its center where the muscles won't adhere anymore, since I had the children, leaving my guts spilling out onto the field of blood and treasure. So like most women, I hate this war, smoking the remains, hanging my head over the fire. Frozen. We shut our eyes, hide under our scarves, put our hands over our ears. Even when you don't see them, you can hear them. You know they're there. They are all over my brain. I can't sleep. There is nothing anyone can give us that makes it better. I just turn on the light and sit there looking at the light. 24 hours a person is in stress and there's pain in his head. If you bang a door, they'll scream and drop. It weakens my brain. My mind was so badly affected. I had all the hopes and potential, and now I am doing nothing. If I'm walking in the market, if I'm shopping, if I'm standing on the road, we can't drive cars. We run out of our houses. Of all the progress and advances in the modern world, only these reached us. Closed. The lost generation turns circles in the sky. Zooming by proxy, they weep their dereliction of the blue-on-blue compartments. The schools are all now forward operating bases, each teacher locked and loaded behind a reinforced door, each primary child taught to maintain a tactical instinct and exit strategy in homeroom. And the children that you spit on, take them out and cut them into prototypes for the STARS holding group. They offer no illumination as you struggle, eyes wide, to navigate through the blacker than black maze of Conex dormitories. As a cop, I have 24/7 situational awareness. On my beat, we're in this hotel. Imagine what this country could be if every citizen was trained to see each room as a potentially hostile scenario. I do. I see the room in Yemen, but the kids are not where I left them. They were exfilled with their hands in the air and strict instructions not to look to the left or right. It was a turkey shoot. There's no humanity in it at all. Then the findings come back, and it's nothing but single digits. When they go back, they're relieved to find comfort animals. Not just puppies, goats, sheep, a cookie-cutter shark and her pup, and a tank in the mess. Their enemies have ghosted the teams and classes, not taking them out, just committing little ticky-tacky fouls on their competitors. Everyone who's been killed has thereby got a conviction, a true test of the endurance of the dead, who have permanently withdrawn their labor, who are on permanent lockout. The babies are born and kept in shut compartments because we come from the future, where it's all stars and ghost towns. Closed. What do you see? I see a man dressed in a drab flowing robe with a white cap on his head, casting a long shadow in the dirt. Where is he? He's in remote tribal regions. What is he doing? He's hiding in caves and walled compounds. He's trading in empty deserts and rugged mountains. He's taking refuge. How did he get there? Red 1998 Suzuki Vitara, Hyundai Santa Fe, Toyota pickup, double cab Hilux. Where is he going? From Wadi Sur Highway to his home in Hadal Ishaq village in Wadi Sur. Who is he with? 5 men in a grove of date palms? What kind of men are they? Ragtag militants, rabbits in a dry hole. What are they doing? Not gathering for a bake sale. What do they fear? The shalom blowing in. What will you say? EKIAs killed while meeting their fellows. What is red? The only thing hot enough around here to be a body. Activated. 4 grinning trumpets stand before a portrait of the visionary by Ralph Wolf Cohen. It's Papalotl with her flint-edged rings, Galidne, the reaper, Io, the whirlwind, Miru on the tip of her tongue. Closed. Oh, sweet target. Oh, cop, oh, snowflake. Look at the snakes in landing gear. How they mitigate your horror by hardening targets. But then replace your penis, the absence of which is that feeling's cause. She wears it in the wings of the vulva from which the devil fled. Not a fleshy body, but a digital statistical trace. Intolerable soft man, lying on soft rugs. Put him in bed with the captain's daughter. You have a blessed day, blinking your large eyes, fertilizing the queen, whose ring you twisted when you went suddenly invisible. You remember that story, the vain chief and his trophy wife, the stupid heiress, eating a steak well done with ketchup and Riyadh, swatting his tiny hand away like a fly. And what happened then? She was pissed, dressed for the job she wanted. That was a joke. A widow. She upped and armed her invisible visitor. It's not a moral opportunity. He got the throne and her prosthetic jawbone, but she, these expensive, these is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes. She got the money and the blood of the man who pimped her to that common invisible dolt. Frozen. When I was in my 20s, I stopped coming. My friend said that emotions are technical, but I want technique to be emotional. I arranged a delivery to his compound. Sometimes I could go there by imagining the woman I had been watching for so many hours that her routines were more familiar than my own, undressing in a hotel room where they were attending a conference. So I sent him out to collect targets on the trains and buses. But my desire had been gathered up for her in my fist, more speculative than really actionable, and that was an emotional bubble that became technical. I just lost it with all this privatization, the selling of our common resources just to make a few bucks. They say there is no relation and what I want is the other's desire, but when she sees me finally coming for her, it will be his hands on the tips and propellers. Gunman, sergeant, she won't even know I'm in the room. Frozen. My boy, are you tender-headed? Will you come home from kindergarten, if that is your acute privilege? I will buy you the new geocs you asked for, the ones that don't light up and give away your location in a code red. Oh, fiddlehead fern, wrap that green patience around his body, so easily punctured, so casually worn. God is good all the time, so he can be good too. To the knuckleheads in Chicago, this guy blames for escaping the reasonable application of the law as he considers buying his first handgun at the age of 72. The masculine and peremptory right to choose he aims at kids walking out of bunkers into the open air, which no one here ever believed was safe, was open. Opened. The chair bone's connected to the sky bone's connected to the nothing bone's connected to the nothing bone. Gonna walk around. Opened. The blood is ready, and when it is ready, it falls. Seeing the large clumps drop into the water, I feel something akin to pride. It billows out in clouds like any mammal slipping its life out into the ocean. And when I'm standing, the ache in my cunt and my hamstrings makes me think of and I'm frightened of the animals sniffing around as I wait for the lead weight in the collar. Water makes this blood abundant, though the mood is foul, the smell is foamy. It looks like one of those in the bright garb, maybe carrying a child as well. I write on the window that the child has disappeared. Someone I don't know answers, that was a dog. Activated. The patch on the beast of Kandahar says the wearer is alone and unafraid, like an animal or a god. Predators don't do elephant walks. The job of the hammerhead's hammer is to smash its prey on the ocean floor. Thank you.